Welcome to the 3 Cs of Social Emotional Learning podcast, episode 6. I'm Glenn Hunter, board chair of Touchstone Youth Resource Services in Nashville, Tennessee. Touchstone is a nonprofit organization focusing on social emotional learning. What we do is bring programming and we equip our local youth with emotional tools so that they can manage both their emotions better. They can also manage their position in their communities better. And the idea is that they'll be able to keep harsh and destructive influences away from them and be more productive in their communities and for themselves. The result is that we're contributing to bigger, stronger communities. And they're really based off of respect and personal development where they happen to live. Also, we have our subject matter expert, Shor Denny of Community Now.
Hi, you guys.
So, Shor Denny, Community Now in the Inland Empire of Southern California. And she's going to have a wealth of knowledge to share with us. And today we're going to talk about how can we maintain our mental health with a focus on diet and exercise.
Oh, I'm glad you kind of
brought that in. Yeah, exactly. So Shor, when you think about this, our topic today, mental health, diet, exercise, you got two things going there. How do they come together? How does health in your body, mental health in your body come together?
I guess the question actually is how could they be separate? As one unit, our body is one system, so they all work together. So you're going to have your physical health and you're going to have your mental health, and they are kind of on a balancer. And if one goes down, the other one kind of compensates, right? So a lot of people that have health issues have mental health issues as well. It's called co-occurring or dual diagnosis. So like you can have diabetes. People that have diabetes usually end up with depression. They have depression, therefore, or denial, that comes with depression. They don't want to move around. They don't want to deal with the fact. It could be anxiety as well. They don't want to deal with the fact of dealing with their health. So the diabetes brought on. It's actually the egg and the chicken. Which one came first? Did the mental stressor cause the person to, if it's not something that's genetic, get their body into a state where they gain diabetes, or did they have diabetes and then that kind of the stressors of that life broke down their mental health? So the start off is diet. Your diet is very important. You should eat well, healthy, whole foods, not processed food. And it should be in moderation, right? Everybody wants to be, or there are so many vegans, or there are so many people that go to the extreme carnivores too, right? So what we're saying is just do it in moderation so that you can maintain your health. Everything in moderation is basically kind of allowable. If you want ice cream, eat ice cream maybe once a week, and that way it's not going to really impact your weight. You get to have that flavor and that experience, but then you are still looking at eating those veggies and making sure you have basically a balanced meal in your diet. Now that's not saying that you have to eat 3 times a day, 7 times a day, small meals, all of these things that are being said. All we are saying that from a mental health perspective is just to try to stay healthy. And that would bring in exercise. So eating well, not eating a lot of processed foods, trying to stay with more whole foods, home cooked foods, and then exercising, again within moderation, so that you're not straining your muscles, taking yourself to the point where you don't want to exercise again because it hurts so bad, right? Like, oh my God, my leg hurts from last week. But you want to keep your muscles moving. You want to keep your body in action. And that is a way of keeping mental wellness, because once your body's in action, your endorphins flow. You're able to process out stresses, and you're able to really just maintain mental and physical health.
Okay. Now, the way you've described that is very logical. I mean, it's very systematic. And to a big part of our target are young people. And I don't know a lot about young people, but I know they're not logical. But being able to put those habits in to young people and help them understand the importance of that balance that you refer to, where do you start just to be able to get the point to them that there's a mental piece and a diet piece that they have to bring together? Which one do you introduce to young people first so that they can understand it?
You would want to introduce them at the same time. Right now, our schools in California, we're in California, and we have free breakfast, right? And we have free and reduced lunch. So our kids are learning because we have very strict dietary requirements within our schools. So they are eating some very strict diets within our school, and they're being taught the value of what they eat. There are different community organizations that do things within lower income communities to ensure that there are fruits and vegetables that are available for the people that live in that area so that they have access to healthy foods. And for mental health, we would want that to start at elementary and earlier as well, right? With coping and problem solving skills, that positivity, all of this is prevention. So in a prevention world of mental health, everything that you're going to do is preventing something. So eating healthy prevents being overweight, it prevents being depressed, it prevents being diagnosed with a physical illness, right? So it's all preventing. Being mentally well and learning coping skills prevents mental stressors from being able to overwhelm you completely. You'll be able to pull in different practices, strategies, and techniques along the way to try to bring yourself down. So the key is to try to introduce it as early, but both as early as possible to our youth. And it's working because a lot of our youth right now are talking about healthy diets, are choosing healthier choices, especially our millennials.
Outstanding. So, again, contrary to common thought, our children actually can be taught. But, I think one of the things that I see just being in our community is, the activities that they have, the PE that the children have. I mean, if nothing else, they're walking throughout their campus just to make sure that they're getting that exercise daily. In reinforcing the diet component, what kind of tools are being used to make sure they're getting that part of their learning, of their growth? What diet tips are they getting as part of their daily routine?
Are you saying within our organization, generally within the school environment?
I was pointing more toward the school environment.
So they have dietitians, right? That and they do have classes where they teach about the food groups and different things so that they understand the value of the food. There are actually schools that have community gardens on their campus where the students are learning how to grow food. One of the things my daughter, I have a garden. I've had a garden for years, and she never really liked to participate. She didn't want to do the weeding. She didn't want to do that. But anyway, when it was harvest time, or as things grew and died, she got an education that when you go to the store and you pick up a bell pepper, you're looking, is there a blemish? But in nature, there are blemishes, that are allowable in nature. Actually, you want things to be really overripe. When you eat them, not ripe. So they're not looking, the banana doesn't look beautiful and yellow. When you really want to eat it, it's spotty and brown, right? So it's teaching our kids, number one, that everything is not perfect. You don't eat perfect food, and we're not perfect, which is in itself healthy for your mental health. Just to have that stress off of you of the perfection. So what we're trying to do is just to let them see that the value of the foods within the schools. There are also, I think, a lot of programs have been cut. So there used to be home economics, which helped talk about food, but some schools don't have that. Most schools don't have that anymore. So some of that knowledge is not being carried through. And, we as parents or as community members that deal with the school, we could all discuss the dietary requirements that our youth are being put in today, what they're being I want to say forced to eat
Right.
at school, but it's healthy. I think if they eat it right, but you see a lot of it going in the trash. So it would be healthy in moderation, being food that tastes good as well.
Okay. So we've explored the diet side of that, but on the exercise side, we're trying to tie that into mental health, and we'll know that if we're able to exercise and get our endorphins flowing, that we'll be better to cope and things like that. But we don't live in a perfect world. And when you get the young folks that you work with, what kind of exercise experience are they having, and what kind of baggage does it create, either positive or negative, that allows them, one, to receive the teaching you're giving them because they are invigorated? So the question being, what are our young people able to do away from school to influence exercise so that they're able to adapt better?
Everything, anything that's physical. They can kick a ball, they can kick a can, they could run after a rope, they could everything that it's the imagination is as far as you can go with what you can do physically. We in our program do a activity where we bring jump ropes and hula hoops onto campus, and we play music, and then we just let the kids just play. And our goal there and what we're teaching them is that you don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to do this strenuous routine to be fit. You can have fun. You can hula hoop and be fit. You can, do all kinds of fun things with people and be fit. And that's one of the things that we try to teach them at an early age. So that's what I would say. Anything. You can run around the house. When my daughter, she was gifted, so she was in special classes, and they say there's a very thin line between an ADHD child and a gifted child. So my daughter couldn't stand still. She literally could not be still. She would pop and bounce around the house. I mean, literally all day long. So when going places and doing things, the question comes, what do you do with that energetic child? And what we chose to do was let her move. We'd go to dinner, she'd eat, and then I'd let her run the table. Now, she didn't interrupt anyone. She wasn't loud, but she would move around my table. That way, I didn't have to yell at her, scream at her. She didn't have to sit there and cry. We didn't have to go through all that trauma, because I knew there was no way she was going to sit in that seat, right? Now, in older schooling, the way I was brought up, I would have been told to shut up, sit there, wait till the meal's over,
Right.
So it's compensating for personalities. It's not, we're not a cookie cutter world. We're not, and we shouldn't treat our children as if they are. If our children have these energetic needs, give them a place to use that energy. If you have a child that has, they are calling it ADD or disorder, disordered
Attention
deficit, yeah.
Yes.
And obedience disorder. Disobedience disorder. The thing is, give them room. Let them run. I used to have a child that I babysat, and as soon as his energy got up, he was diagnosed with ADHD, I'd have him run around the building, right? Literally, just run, go, like a race, go. And by the time he was ready to stop running, he was ready to come in the house and sit down and relax and do what he was supposed to do, because we allowed him to get that out. So a lot of times I think that we're not allowing our children to release the energy, and then we're disciplining them for having the energy.
So there you have it. I mean, when social emotional learning is working effectively, you're giving opportunity not just to learn, but to grab new experiences, unique experiences, so that the child is developing at a rate that they're comfortable. They're able to engage the world and learn in a way they're comfortable. And I think that is essential for us to have functional communities. Allow our young people to basically act in their giftedness. And if they have a lot of energy, then let them exert that energy. Covered a lot of ground today. We got diet, we got exercise, we got SEL, we gave coping skills. Hopefully you're able to bring some of that back and think about the people you're dealing with, the youngsters you're dealing with, and being equipped to give them the tools to express themselves constructively, but in a way that they're going to benefit and in a way that they'll be able to bring their gifts to the betterment of the community that they're in.
Exactly.
With that being said, subject matter expert Shor Denny, Glenn W. Hunter, we look forward to seeing you at the next episode.
You guys, remember to subscribe, like us. If you like the content, share it around. You guys have a great day and stay mentally well.
This podcast is brought to you by Coach G SAT Training. Coach G provides secret tools and tips to high school students to maximize their performance on their SAT and SAT college prep exams. Remember, scores equal scholarships. Call 951-364-3222 to learn how to get started to earn a spot at the college of your choice.